Welcome, Leo, to your Leo 2022 calendar year reading and forecast, your annual 2022 reading. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James. For those of you who are stopping by for the first time, pleasure to meet you. Hope to see more of you. Now, I will mention, because a lot of people do ask me, if you do want private readings, just check out the information that's in the description box below. Now, I'm going to draw 12 cards, one for each month of the year. And I will mention, though, that there is, I do put my very in-depth monthly readings on the playlist on my channel. So depending on when you look at this, if you haven't subscribed, that is, you can just go to my playlist and you'll see the current month and the month before. The month before that usually gets deleted. So as the year moves on, it gets taken off so it remains uncluttered and easy for you to use. It's simple. I just put the title on the left-hand side and the videos are all in there. You'll see it. Even a baby could do it. Now, let's have a look to see here. Well, we've got for the first 6 months of the year, the 10 of coins, death, the lovers, the page of wands, the 2 of coins, it's 5, and then for June is the world, very interesting. Then for the back half of the year, there is the 9 of coins, that's always a good one, you'll enjoy that. The sun, your planet, let's have a look here. The 7 of swords. Yes, the moon and the sun, they are referred to as planets in astrology, as you would already know. Otherwise known as the luminaries. There's the 10 of swords, the 7 of swords. What's this one here? 10 of swords card looks fascinating. I wonder what it means. Oh, there's the page of swords in between it. I thought it was going to be a problem at first, but between those two cards, it's not. And here we have the 8 of wands. What a fantastic spread of cards. This could be your best year ever. So why don't you come down? I might use my pen to point out some of the interesting thing on the paintings that are here, the medieval style paintings for your interest. And what will happen is you and I will look at them together while I do the reading for you. There now, I think you can see, by the way, what a great setup for your standard of living in January and repeated in July. Great cards for good standard of living and improving standard of living for you throughout the whole of this year, which makes a welcome change, doesn't it? First of all, let's have a look. Now, the art is very important in these tarot cards, so I'm going to spend some time pointing out a few of the features. Now, I can't help but notice that this image here, this pattern, replicates that of the tree of life in Kabbalistic mysticism. I'm not going to go into that now, but I'll point it out. Now, the tree here is an oak tree, and let's just say that the flowers here, these coins, they are, I would say, members of the family of the people who live in this rather impressive house there. You might end up in something of an impressive house yourself. This is Mercury ruling the third decan of Virgo, the 13th to the 22nd of September. Now, this is really good because Mercury rules and is also exalted in Virgo. So you'll have good communication skills coming to you from Mercury and good organizational ability from Virgo. And so there is success and abundance with this cards here. You'll have inner and outer richness and the ability to make inner wealth visible and share it with others. Let's have a look next at the card of death, shall we? Here he is. Well, here we see a skeleton dancing on blue ground holding a scythe whose handle used to be a human spine. And the pose of death resembles that of the Lord Shiva, the Hindu god of destruction and renewal. A raven, which is the symbol of decomposition, glides nearby. The landscape is strewn with human hands and feet, but the hands indicate that new energy is coming forth, as emphasized by the green shoots that come up from below. On the right is a woman's head, in the middle a child's, and this head that of a man. It may even be that of the artist, I suppose. I call this the child of the great transformers, the lord of the gate of death, Now, very often in medieval times, they didn't put the name of death there. They would just call it card number 13. This is Mars ruling Scorpio with Pluto exalted. Mars here, though, the planet of fiery energy in its lowest form, which is necessary to provide the impulse for change. So I think what we'll see here for you is, well, the talks of death and resurrection, but not in a metaphorical sense. It means that there is some things which you are letting go of, some people you are letting go of, new things to come, a transformation with you. Just as Scorpio is the sign of this, Scorpio has three forms: the scorpion, the snake, and the eagle. You will become free of old ensnarements, and there's lots of external changes coming about with you. Endings, letting go of emotional attachments. It's the end of an era or cycle that's there for you. What's happening then in March? We have, here we go, lovely artistic work again, that of the Lovers. And let's have a look to see what we have here. Now, don't you love the artwork on this? I certainly do. Here a man and woman clasp hands, the woman gazing at the man and the man looking upward. They willingly pledge their love and their desire to stay with one another as they stand on a forking path near the abyss. You see how this thing is forking here? Now, on the left is a rugged and hard path, rugged, stony land, the choice of virtue. On the right is a pleasant and sunny land, and that is the choice of vice. Above the two lovers is the centaur Chiron, who was renowned for his beneficence and wisdom, and after his death he was exalted to become the constellation Sagittarius, the zodiacal sign that rules free choice. Nevertheless, even though there is that zodiacal sign of Sagittarius with Chiron there, this is actually here Mercury ruling Gemini with Dragon's Head, the north node of the moon, exalted. I call this the children of the voice divine, the oracle of the mighty gods. You need to look at all angles before making a decision at this time. You could be a mediator or a peacemaker. You need to look at harmony in relationships, and you might need to make a major life choice on the direction ahead of you, which could be a career or a lifestyle. You may also find that there is a mutual attraction and a sexual connection, but this is a major arcana card, so it's not going to be a one-night stand. Attraction, approaching connection, union of opposites through love, becoming conscious through relationships. Choices are here for you. Maybe a partnership in some degree, not just personal, but maybe in business. And you might find you're at a crossroads. Well, there's possibility also of you going into business with some other people, and somebody here is going to be falling in love. There's commitment here, possibly an engagement, and for somebody, there might be the need to choose between two lovers. Here we have a man who was probably in servitude and who has just been set free. Let's have a look at some of the painting here. Well, yes, I'm sure he has been set free because there is still a, you might see it here, a green metal shackle around his ankle. Now he wears solar colors, the colors of the sun, and a lion's skin is draped over him. He rests the tip of a large club in a bed of ashes. You see this bed of ashes, which is down here, is also in this thing here. There it is. And in which the tail of a lion and the end of his socks also trail. Now an orchid grows from the club. And what else is there? And also there's a red flower on the page's hat here. Now in the background, a jungle of lush flowers and rich fruit is there, but it's being threatened by fire. Now this has got a lot of you written over it, I think, this card here. The other people who are going to be important to you, I think, during this period are Virgo and Cancer. Now this represents a person who is omnivorous in passion of whatever kind and can be entirely reckless at the means of obtaining gratification. Almost insatiable is what I'd say here. Energetic, individualistic, brilliant and daring you will be. You'll be expressive in love or in anger. And certainly you'll have a great enthusiasm for projects. You are being freed from fear. This represents a new beginning, optimism and increased perception. And coming after that great energy is this one in May, which is, this is the Two of Coins. I'm looking at the image on it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, let's look at first of all, there's a coin here, and that is the Chariot of Mercury. Here is a library with a quill and a ink pot in it. Now, look at this naked woman here, gazing at herself, and these two old men here. This is reminiscent to me, and I'm sure it's meant to be, a reference to the story called Susanna and the Elders. Now that is in the Catholic and Orthodox Bibles. It doesn't appear in the Protestant or Hebrew Bibles. And what happened was, Susanna married a much older man who was wealthy, and in the afternoons she would go into her courtyard and have a bath. On one particular afternoon, she dismissed her slave girl and had a bath by herself. But every time she would have a bath, these two older men would be spying on her and looking at her naked body. Anyway, on this day that the slave girl was sent away and she was by herself, the two older men came down and said to her, "Look, you need to have sex with us, or we're going to tell everybody that you've had an adulterous affair and relationship with a young man, and you'll be executed for adultery." And she refused to do so. And the old guys told everybody. Now, at her trial, you will have heard of Daniel. There's the book of Daniel in the Bible. Well, in this case, the Daniel was a young Daniel, the same person, but a young Daniel. And he smelled a rat and he said, "Look, we need to take these men aside because they've said that she had sex with this young man under a tree." And individually they were asked what type of a tree it was. One old man said it was a small sort of a bush of a particular type. The other man said it was a very large tree of a different type. And so it became apparent that they were lying. And because of their false testimony, they were executed. And Susanna's honor and reputation remained intact. Now, this is the Lord of harmonious change. It is Jupiter ruling the first decan of Capricorn. Although that's potentially inharmonious, really, isn't it? Because Jupiter is all about expansion and Capricorn is about conservatism and practicality. But this high up on the tree, we're at the 2, we're just near the ace. We don't have the problem that would otherwise be there. So I think there's a lot of movement going to be with you at this time. Flux, having ups and downs, growth through change, multitasking. I think you'll have something of a heavy workload. You'll be enjoying your work though, and there's a welcome change coming along which is moving you into a better place. Change, transformation. Jupiter, the planet symbolizing luck and expansion, indicates that the change will bring luck and enrich life, and the new will bring more stability and security. That's the Capricorn aspect to it. Well then, what do we have? This is interesting. Don't you love? I love these paintings. Let's have a look at this. Here we go. Well, here there is a young woman standing naked in the middle of a wreath. She holds 2 wands, one black one in her left hand and one white one. Now, the wreath around her is composed of flowers and fruit and is entwined with the alchemical snake. At the corners are the symbols of the elements and of the planets. Now, the stars above, near an angel. What we have here is, actually, these are the fixed signs of the zodiac, to be honest about it. This is Aquarius, the fixed sign of air. This is Scorpio in its exalted form, the fixed sign of water. This is you, Leo, the fixed sign of fire. And this is Taurus, the bull, the fixed sign of earth. Now, what happens, though, is that medieval symbolism matches the lion with fire, and the evangelist Saint Mark, the bull with earth and Saint Luke, the angel or man with air and Saint Matthew, and the eagle with water and Saint John. She is the great one of the night time for me. This is talking about completion. You're getting things done. You've organized things. The completion of a project. Your efforts are finally paying off. Could have been a long, hard haul for you, but you're almost there, and this is a reminder for you to finish what you started. And you'll be learning to take control of things and learning to take control of your own destiny. And you'll be using the power of your will to get results. You may well reach a new level of spiritual understanding, and there's liberation from bondage and the burning off of karma here with this card. Fantastic. Now here we go again. I told you at the start, didn't I, what fantastic material energy you had around you. Let's have a look at this one. Well, looking at this nine of coins here, these things are all the heads of goats on this coin, and there is a pathway running through a flowery garden. At the beginning of it here is a ring. Then we see a man looking back. Oh, this man here, you've got a card coming through later on. This guy. That's Brighella, who was one of the characters in an Italian Renaissance theatre. Now there's a woman here who is, actually she reminds me of the protagonist, which is in the nine of coins of the Rider-Waite character. And then here is a woman in black with a umbrella open, ready for the storm which is about to sweep through, or the rain which is about to sweep through. Interesting artwork there. This is the moon ruling the second decan of Sagittarius. Now in the number 9, I also have a mystical association with the moon, so you have a double lunar influence, as the moon is ruling both the decan, being that of the second Sagittarius, the 3rd to the 12th of December, also being ruling the number of the card. This is the Lord of great strength, and so what you will have here is power gained through unifying conscious and unconscious energies. Unconscious, because the moon is specifically directed at your unconscious enemy. You'll have determination, strength of character, courage under fire, and defending what you have worked for, and that defense will be successful. You will have a great belief in yourself. Now, when the unconscious becomes visible, you are faced with many things you have covered up in order to avoid looking at them. This can produce fear of some sort, the fear of feeling painful wounds you've covered up and hoped to forget. There may also simply be fear of your own yet unproven strength, which reaches into all the areas of your life, reorganizing them, and that is what is going to be happening to you during this period. You're going to have great strength and endurance. Now, what do we have here? What is this? Here we go. Sun card, isn't it? Right. Well, here we have a white horse bearing a young boy and a young girl. Now, I think the boy is Hercules, and he carries the sun over his head, doesn't he? While the girl holds a distaff. Now, the white horse is a symbol of that which serves love, and it dances around in this circle of almost flowers that one might find in paradise. Now, over here is a lyre, the musical instrument that is, L-Y-R-E, and that's the the symbol of the Greek sun god Apollo. And that is leaning up against that wall, isn't it? Very good, stout, sturdy wall behind the scene as well, I might notice. Now on the other side here is an egg. That's interesting. Now I think that what that egg does is it's recalling the virtue and love of the twin brothers Castor and Pollux, who were born from an egg. And as I say, there's this very sturdy background and strengthened background there. Well, the Lord of the Fire of the Word is what this card is for me. This is really, well, it's the sun, which is your planet governing this. It's the sun all over it. And there's a great degree of Christ consciousness, Shiva consciousness, Krishna consciousness associated here. It's a highly creative energy. It's a turning point also for you if things haven't been going so well, because the sun will illuminate your path before you. You'll have a greater degree of awareness of people and events going on around you. I think what this is also speaking of is a fulfilled love relationship, wisdom. Again, spirituality. You might be on a spiritual renaissance this year, I think. This is a general yes. It's riches, marriage for some, success, definitely good fortune coming your way, optimism and happiness. Really one of the best cards that you can get, because this energy here is going to get you through tough times. Now remember that energy is going to be getting you through some tough times, because there is a point here where you of all people, may start to doubt yourself. Let's have a look at this painting that's here and see what we might glean from it. Well, what we really have here is an alchemist who has already found immortality, and he performs the operation in which the 7 colors of the rainbow can be seen, as symbolized by the rainbow itself and also by the raven, which has got a number of different colors in it. I don't know if that shows up with this light that I'm using. Now, this is an old man and he's lost all of his hair, and his features, though, appear as those of an ancient child. Now, the raven flies away with his gold ring, and these harpies up here on the hilts of the swords turn the 7 colors into poisonous vapors. Now, this is the moon ruling the 3rd decan of Aquarius. Now, the emotions of the moon can cloud the intellectual qualities of Aquarius, and so you might be letting your heart rule your head here. Aquarius thus is weakened by this moon, which may be giving you a lack of clarity at the time. So you may feel as if things that you're doing are ineffectual. You might kind of feel there might be a mental procrastination about things. You might just be coasting along, doing just enough to get by. You may actually even find that you are working beneath your own standards here. There's a feeling of despondency, negative expectations and what have you. But I'll say this though, this number 7 here for me mystically is associated with, first of all, with the planet of Venus, which is about love and beauty. It's also about bringing in money. And the other thing is that it refers to an area of divine emanation prior to the existence of space and time, which we mystics refer to as victory. So this energy of the sun, though you may from time to time feel a bit downhearted about things, you will actually get through. Let's see what this 10 of Swords has to say to us. Now, the reason why I say that you will get through and you might be a bit miserable from time to time is that, but after that 7 comes the 10. Now, this 10 is normally a bad card here. Let's have a look at the art on it. Now, here we have, well, there are 10 swords geometrically arranged. Here, on the top of the hilts of the swords are with bloodied daggers. I would say they might be the senators who assassinated Julius Caesar on the Ides of March in 44 BC, with their bloodied daggers dripping as they do here. This is a graveyard scene, and these flowers which are at the bottom of the blades, they are chrysanthemums, which are graveyard flowers. Here, this fly, the lord of the flies, Beelzebub, the beast, the demon, Satan himself, flies around, depositing eggs on corpses. And these women here, these three women, 1, 2, and 1 hurling herself on the ground, do you know what they are? They are professional mourners. People used to hire people to come to funerals and to mourn the dead. Now, if it was anybody else, I'd say that this could ordinarily prove to be a difficult card, a difficult energy associated with it, but not with you. Because what it is with you is it is your planet, the sun, ruling the third decan of Gemini, the 12th to the 20th of June. Now here, the sun in Gemini is difficult, as Gemini disperses its energy, the energy of the sun, and our focus. Now on my playlist, you'll see a thing called Astrology for Beginners. I talk about the spiritual meaning behind the symbol for Gemini and how energy just comes into space and matter and it's just dispersed in all directions without any focus. And so that is what's happening here. Your focus may be entirely on the intellect, and it's unstable because this 10 is unstable. Now the 10 also is about completion, you know. So this aggravation, which you may have been feeling there to yourself, is being pushed by the great benefic energy here. It's also then being overcome by way of action that's taken here, such that this energy is really dissipating. This 10 is unstable. The divine energy, which runs in a straight line through all of the tarot, in a line through all of the tarot cards, when it gets to the 10 of Swords, the next card from this third world, which is Swords, it goes down into the fourth world, into matter, and it appears in the Ace of Coins, which again is all about material success. So I wouldn't be concerned about there. You may find that you get some sort of a distraction, you know, maybe some negative thinking or things like that, but I think that you need to look at where the fears in your life lie and change the way that you are dealing with them. Yeah. Sometimes, you see, there could also be some sudden endings for things that can refer to this because it's teamed with your planet. You might hear of sudden endings. You might hear of people who, you might hear of a divorce or people who go in for a surgery or something like that. I don't think it's you, but or someone who's made the wrong choice about something. Because as I say, it's got your card, your sun, supporting you in the astrology of that card. Then we look at this. Now I pointed him out before, didn't I, when we were walking through that garden of the 9 of Coins here. Well, here we have the decadent character of the Commedia dell'arte, who is Brighella, and he's standing in that used in the play that he would usually be involved in. Now, Brighella was a sly villain who would do anything for money. He wears white robes trimmed in green and lined in yellow, and a peacock feather decorates his floppy hat. Armor glints under his robes. His ears are they're pointed. Yes, and they're decorated with golden rings, and a snake is draped at his neck. He slyly covers one eye with one hand, while with the other hand he holds a sword and a fox head handle on it. And meanwhile, a black cat slinks in front of him, and the moon is waning in the background. Now that period which you overcame there of a bit of probably a little bit of a miserable outlook on yourself, maybe a bit of a lack of self-esteem there. You come out of the gate now with this card. Really, I've got to say, and this could be someone who you know also here, and this can be a man or a woman. It could also be an Aquarius, it could be a Capricorn, it could be a Pisces. But this is somebody who is, I think, stern and revengeful, firm and aggressive, very skilled in the ways of the world. Out of the clouds you come into clarity. There is victory over moods and rebellion here as well. This is the type of person who throws everything overboard, who just pushes the broom through everything, much to the amazement and shock of all those who know them. And yet it turns out down the track that they have chosen correctly. And I think this could well be you during this period. You'll have this very aggressive, very switched on, very focused idea to just have your way come what may. Yeah. And this takes us then to the Eight of Wands. And this Eight of Wands has got what to say to us. Well, the painting, I think, is quite straightforward. Here is a young man, well, making very amorous overtures to this young lady here who seems coy, but probably is not rejecting him, but really just wants to see what he has to offer. And yet, later, here we see the two of them together fighting, biting, scratching one another. And yet up here, two children are playing with one another, and notice that they wear the same colors as these two here. Yes, this moment, I think, where you've come through here and you're starting to say, I really want to start making changes in my life, which came through here. With this, you're making very quick, strong decisions. This is Mercury ruling the first decan of Sagittarius, the 23rd of November to the 2nd of December. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius has the swiftness of the arrow. And this produces in you a restless intellect here, I think. But this number 8 here also has Mercury in it, so communication is very much highlighted by the energy around this card. So is diplomacy, I have to say. So is diplomacy, because remember, Mercury was the messenger of the gods. No point going giving a bad message, almost the negotiator, almost the agent of them. But this number 8 here, in the numerology, also for me means power, balance, harmony, manifestation, practicality, skill, and decision. You will be making decisions, so you will be clear, direct, swift communication, and you'll overcome misunderstandings. You will be overcoming obstacles. Events will be moving fast for you, blockages removed. Opportunities will be arriving quickly, and there'll be the manifestation of results. That's very imminent in this time, and it's going to push through into the following year as well. Well, that's the way it is for you this year. Well, I thought that was fascinating, didn't you? It looks like you're going to have a fantastic year ahead of you, probably your best year ever, if I'm any judge of these things. Oh, I think you've got everything going for you, and so you should have too. Now remember, I want to see you in the monthly readings, so don't miss out on those. They're far more in depth than what we've just done now. But until then, remember one thing, and remember it always, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, it's bye for now.